Fucking go live. I don't know if I'm live. All right, let's try that.
It says broadcasting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. We've got some big news today, and we've got equally big guests. We've got Beverly Ruffiner. The Ruffinator is here. The Ruffinator, I don't know. We'll change our name on the fly. Why not? The Bevinator is here. We've got Gene, the Evil Bald Ninja, is here. We've got the Junior Grandmaster here as well, but we're not going to pay much attention to him today. We've got some fun stuff to talk about. We'll bring them in a second, but first, I do have to bring in my esteemed co-host, looking very festive in his orange and black, or what is that, yellow and black shirt? I don't know what's happening, but it's not very Christmassy at all. Greg McDaniel, what's up today? Says I'm shy.
He says my shirt says I'm shy.
Ironically, it's the loudest shirt I've ever seen. None of us are going to be able to talk over it today.
You know what? We got some good stuff today. We are in the end of 2019, and Matt and I have a big announcements to be making. These are some of the very last shows of Real Estate Uncensored. But don't worry.
What?
Don't worry. We're not ending the show. Matt's going through a transition. We're changing the name to S&M Uncensored. Sales and Marketing Uncensored. Matt's favorite topic.
Yeah, no, I thought Matt's transition was completed 4 years ago.
Oh my God!
No, well, not publicly. He still dresses normally in public, but you should see us when we get on the road. Shit gets fucking weird. All right.
Oh my God! All right. Oh, good Lord, guys. Okay, let me clarify. We are rebranding and relaunching the show as Sales and Marketing Uncensored, and we're doing a couple of things. So we are going to be at some point, we are going to shift these live episodes from Facebook back to YouTube. So we're going back to some of our roots in that sense. So we're going to dive into YouTube, and we're going to talk about some of the same things we've always talked about, but we're going to get really focused around online marketing and social media tactics. What are the things you can do right now, today, to get more attention, build your influence, get more clients? Right, Greg?
Right, 100%. Yeah, we're gonna really strip this thing down and make it so that it's gonna be a lean, mean fighting machine for you. Yep. Nothing's gonna change. No personalities. Nothing is gonna change about the show. We're just gonna hyper focus on sales and marketing for you. You guys can take and put in any part of your life. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
That's right. I mean, other than my personality changes from being up and grouchy and then fine and grouchy. That's right.
70-year-old man in a 30-something-year-old body.
Exactly.
Curmudgeon Johnson. That's your name. But anyways, enough about you and me.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go.
Yes, Bev. Welcome back to the show.
Matt, it's so good to be back.
We love having you here. We're so excited. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. And then Gene is here as well, the Evil Bald Ninja. What's up today, Gene?
What's up, y'all? Look, I want to talk to you about something real quick.
All right, what do you got?
Do we have a birthday this week?
No.
I think we did.
This week.
No,
I think we did. Right?
No.
Greg, you look amazing for 56 years old. You look amazing. You do. I think it's great. You look great.
Thank you, buddy.
Happy birthday, buddy.
And I can't wait until you grow hair again. So there's that.
Oh.
Not happening.
Oh, goodness. That would involve complicated transplanting procedures, but sure.
It was a lot of fun. And I 41, it's a funny story, and then we're going to talk all Bev, no more Greg or Matt or Gene. Funny story, I get up, I'm like, yeah, 41 years old, yeah, let's get a workout in. Go down to the gym, I immediately pull my calf, and I've been limping around ever since. And I'm like, great way to start off 41. This is fucking brilliant.
Well, at least you didn't fall down and break a hip or something. It could have been worse. All right. So, Bev, we're talking about 5 days, 5 ways to overcome mental blocks. We've got a lot to talk about. But first of all, just how have you been? It's been a while since we had you on the show.
It's been a minute. That's why I asked Greg. I said, how long has it been? And I'm like, gosh, so much can happen in a year. It's so funny. I don't know if any of you journal, but it's like you have intention of journaling every day at the end of the day. And then at the end of 2 weeks, you realize how fast the last 2 weeks just went because you didn't journal yesterday, right? Because you lost 2 weeks. And then you go back to 2 weeks ago and you're like, I know that was a very significant day. And then you try to fill in your time blocks and you're like, I don't know what the hell I did. And when you focus on You know what I'm saying? It's like time just goes so freaking fast, and we don't realize it until we really pay attention to our days and what we're doing with our days. So there's been a lot that's been going on. So I've been very quiet in the real estate industry in the last year, and Facebook and everywhere.
I think sometimes quietness is power. Because you have to go through a process and a journey of living life and experiencing things, some good, some bad. And you've gone through some changes that have been very colorful and interesting. And now you have a story. And what you were saying prior to when we came out, talking about being very intentional. And so I'm fascinated to figure out the 5 days, 5 ways mindset that you've come up with, because going into the new year, everyone's looking for that tip, that trick. And I think what you've been working with in your life is it's not your normal day. Let's put it that way. Okay. And I cannot wait to hear these tips and tricks. I mean, for the folks that are listening, let's dive into this. Let's go balls deep, balls to the walls. Let's talk all things balls, okay? Let's just go there. Balls. See, even Gene says that. Balls. Gene says balls.
I agree with you.
So 5 ways. We have 5 different compartments of our life. We have our work life. We have our relationship life, our family life, our friend life, and then, of course, the one that we spend the least amount of time with is ourselves and investing in ourselves. And those 5 different compartments of our life, we're torn in so many different directions because we go to work and we have our work professional life, and we have people that are part of that piece of our life. And then we come home and we have our family, or, oh, God forbid, we have to go to family over Christmas or over holidays, right? Some it's like, yay, some it's nay. But there's different people in the different facets of our life. And there's always a facet that is not as fun as the other, which is i.e. why we have people that are workaholics, or why we have people that love to always be with their friends and try and create that friend atmosphere all the time, because where they feel the most value. And we tend to ignore the places that we're uncomfortable in. And the attempt of trying to conform to the places that we're not happy in. So, I remember back in 2013 when I was going through my divorce, I was a workaholic. I loved being at work. That's where I had my value. Everybody loved Bev. And then I went home. And I realized I wasn't the same person in my family life as I was in my work life. And when I started to really look at the different compartments of my life, where I was happy, where I was unhappy, I realized it was usually because of the people that were in that part of my life. And I remember reading, have you read The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy?
Love that book.
Great book.
The teacher appeared when the student was ready. Mm-hmm. And in that book, he talks about being the average of the 5 people that you're around the most. And when you really start to dive into those different compartments of your life, who are the 5 people that are in your work life? Who are the 5 people that are in your family life, that are in your friend life? And what does your relationship and those friends look like? Because we have different people in those different compartments that we're being influenced by. And, Greg, we were talking in the beginning before we went live, where I refuse to spend my time on the energy suckers, mm-hmm. because life is coming at us constantly, and everyone's always looking for someone else's energy to fill themselves up. And it's so much easier to blame somebody when things aren't going our way than to sit back and take responsibility of your own story. And
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, going to go down a little bit deeper on that. And the people, I think, I'm not sure if it's in that same book or if it's another book, but, the energy seekers and energy vampires, the people that I call them ask holes, because they keep asking and it goes down a big deep hole and there's just nothing there because they never do anything with it. And Bev, in your life, how it's always hard to get rid of people out of your life because you see like that one little glimmering thing of value. Like I keep telling myself that, Matt brings me value, and Matt brings me value, Matt brings me value. And I keep hanging on that little thread and he's still here. So,
And I appreciate you, Greg.
No, but in all honesty, I mean, Bev, how have you been able to eliminate people out of your life, or have you eliminated people out of your life that that are the assholes or the energy vampires and stuff like that. And walk me through that process really quickly, because a lot of people, myself included, all jokes completely aside, it's very difficult to let people go sometimes out of your life, right?
Well, and it's because we attract what we think, feel, and what we've been taught. And sometimes it's not meant to rid of people in our lives, because those people that we don't like or we don't get along with are sometimes a sandpaper in our lives to shave off our own rough edges. Because if there's someone that we're not in agreement with, we're not in agreement with them because there's something within us that we haven't fixed. So if you eliminate someone out of your life too quickly, you're just going to attract someone back into your life that's going to bring you the same thing until you learn that lesson and move forward. So you're just going to keep repeating that same pattern over and over again until you say, this is my line of sand. This is my value. This is my authentic self. I can't allow this to come into my energy because it's a conflict. And we all have that inner knowing, but yet sometimes we're too afraid to draw that line in the sand because we're not going to be true to ourselves, because we're conforming, because we don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. But all the while, all we're doing is prolonging what the universe is going to bring back to us. Because when we repeat the same pattern, we repeat the same pattern. Dude, so, to answer your question, so to answer your question, you have to first realize your true authentic self and what your values are and what you're no longer wanting to accept into your life, because it's either growing you or pushing you backwards.
I love that.
And only you can decide what it's doing.
Sandpaper people in your life that shave off your rough edges. Did you just make that up? Or
I've been saying it for a long, long time.
I love that so freaking much.
And I'm glad to be that for you, Greg, because I feel like your girlfriends progressively have more and more to thank me for as I've shaved off your rough edges over our time together. So, Jackie, you're welcome. I expect a thank you gift in the mail. Exactly.
She probably will send you a thank you gift, literally, knowing her.
Oh, my God.
That relationships in our lives, everyone thinks that when you find that perfect person, it's that fairy tale, whether it's a friend, whether it's a relationship, no matter what it is, or even a work partner. We all think that, oh my God, we're going to live that movie star life. But the reality is, relationships are there in our life to be that mirror, to bring out our own inadequacies, to be able to say, no, this is not my value. This is not in alignment with who I am. And until then, that person's going to be in your life. And if you eliminate them out of your life, you're just going to attract another one just like them. It's just going to be a different person. And why we have that roller coaster of, you have friends for 6 months because the honeymoon phase is over, or you have relationships for 6 months because the honeymoon phase is over, and you just reattract it again, just with new people. And it's that way in all facets of our life. So eliminating them is not always the problem, is not always the solution. Learning the lesson and rewriting your story is what's going to change the pattern.
When it comes to the honeymoon phase and everything else, in Bev, we were talking off air about this. I believe a lot of real estate agents believe that real estate is more, quote unquote, a honeymoon. Like it's all going to be roses and perfect and nice and everything on TV and, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, you went through a phase and you're just like, fuck everybody, fuck you. You can't, if you're not going to fix yourself, I'm not going to fix you. And you made an interesting comment about, and I think this might have been the 5 ways, 5 days mindset, and I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to make that assumption that I'm right. That you just said, you know what, I'm not going to fish for you. I'm going to teach you how to fish. That's a biblical term that goes back in the Bible, but it still holds truth in today's society. And people, what I believe in, since we're in the tail end of 19 right now, people are all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed about 2019. It's going to be my best year. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to have a better relationship, blah, blah, blah. And they have these grandiose ideas, but they don't break it down to micro steps. Like Matt's book, Micro Famous, which is coming out. I have so many jokes I wanted to launch right into that right now, but I'm not going to.
Speak for yourself, buddy. If you want to make a joke, let's call you microfamous. Ask your girlfriend about that.
Well, I've been called worse.
Uh-huh.
But my thing is, like, the 5 days, people don't break things down into 5 easy steps, right? They want to look at 12 months from now, I'm going to be the king or queen of the world, but they don't ever break it down. Okay, what am I doing tomorrow? What's my mindset going to be today? So what's the first of the 5 ways in the 5 days theory?
Well, it's looking at the area of your life that you're the most happy in. Is it your work life? Is it your relationship? Is it your friendships? Is it, how you're self-investing in yourself? And when you start looking at where you're the happiest at, look at where you are the unhappiest at, and why is there a difference within those compartments of your life? And usually it's the people, or usually it's we're conforming to somebody because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, because we may be in a partnership, we may be in a relationship that we don't want to make a change. And we may not even be ready to make that change because we haven't learned the lesson yet. So it's all about, with it being 5 compartments in our life, I've come to the terms, because I've been eating and breathing these 5 compartments for the last 6 going on 7 years. And, my whole focus was balance. And we have so many books and so many, motivational speakers, balance your life. And I'm calling bullshit on balancing your life. Your life is always going to be about balancing, because those 5 compartments that we're always struggling within, it's an odd number. They will never always be perfect. You're always going to have a challenge in one of those compartments of your life. And it's how you handle the challenge.
So do you weigh in heavier on the area that you're doing better, or do you weigh in heavier in the area that you need work?
The area that you need work, because that is why you're succeeding so much in another area, because you're taking time away purposely to stay away from where you're unhappy, because you don't want to pay attention to it. It's easier to ignore. So looking at a workaholic, it's easier to make excuses that I have to make the money for our family, I have to be here and do this for my family, than actually pay attention to your unhappy family. Instead of trying to balance that out a little bit and say, okay, why am I unhappy at home and why am I so happy at work? You have to come to a middle ground and realize why what's happening in this certain area of your life is not happening the way you want it to. So it's not like you never want to spend 100% of time in one compartment. You never want to spend 100% of your time at work and make excuses for every other facet of your life. Why people don't self-invest in themselves, because we don't want to look into our own life and say, I'm the problem, because we would rather blame everybody else, because that's so much easier. So I'm going to put all of my eggs in my work basket, or I'm going to put all of my eggs in my friendship basket, or all of my eggs in my relationship basket, because I don't want to pay attention to what's inside of me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're basically telling me I'm completely fucked up. That's cool. Thanks.
We all are.
Hey, but it's like that old phrase. It's all my fault, and that's the good news.
But that's very interesting. I mean, because I'm thinking of multiple things in my personal life, well, just my own, existence, that I'm like, okay, that's making a lot of sense because of this, or another thing, or why do I spend time with these people and not those people, and why do I do this versus that? And it's the unpleasant reality of life that you got to deal with, right? And it's like Gene when he's quiet on these shows. It creeps us out. I just don't get it.
I'm just listening, baby, learning about what I need to do in my next 4.5 days.
Oh, Jesus.
I screwed the first part of day 5 up, day 1 of 5 days up today already, so I got to figure out the rest of them.
So you got to work on mindset then for you.
True story.
But the 5 days, 5 ways, it takes you through the walk of every facet of your life to help, and it asks you the questions to really help identify what needs to be paid attention to in each facet, to help to realize, is it the people? Is it yourself? What is it that you're not thriving in that compartment of your life? And as we're going through our days and our weeks and our months, there's going to be different areas that we're going to be thriving in. And there's always going to be challenges in every compartment of our life. If our work life is amazing, we may have a challenge in our relationship compartment. But being aware, you know, I heard a great quote the other day: what you reveal, you can heal. And I always tell my clients, awareness is always the first piece to moving forward. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know, that's probably one of the most, I wrote that down, revealing is healing. I had a very come to Jesus conversation with my girlfriend when she and I were in New York last week. It wasn't a bad conversation. It was just, we had a very honest conversation about something. And, you know, once I knew that what was there needed to be fixed, I've taken immediate action, and I've been, it's something that I am very, I really don't like planning anything. Matt knows this. And it drives her bonkers that I don't plan shit, right? Or I don't book things or whatever else. And once we had a real honest conversation, and it was revealed, and she told me 1,000 times before, like the wonderful woman that she is, but she just took a 2x4 and smacked me across the face twice. And I realized it. Now I can heal it. Now I can take proactive action, even though it was an uncomfortable conversation. It was an honest conversation. I think, you know, there's a quote in a movie that says reality is draped in camouflage, or life is draped in camouflage, right? And so everything that you see has some sort of, you're camouflaging it because you don't want to see it or can't see it in some way, shape, or form. And I love the fact of, you know, having these brutally honest conversations with the people in your life, yourself. I mean, if you're a chunkster and you convinced yourself that one more cupcake's not going to make a difference, well, tons of fun. Yeah, it is going to make a difference.
Throw in like 3 more, dude. You only.
Wow. Oh my God. Chunkster and tons of fun.
Oh my
okay.
God. They just keep piling on.
Yeah, no kidding. Man alive. Like Gene lets his beard grow like 1 more inch, and all of a sudden Greg's letting the insults fly.
I have too much caffeine in my system.
You got to.
All right, let's take a step back real quick, and then we'll dive in for a second before we call it a day. Beverly, what's the best place to reach you, and especially to get your free gift?
BeverlyRuffner.com, and it's right on the main page. You can just go ahead, and the 5 days, 5 ways is completely free.
Awesome.
I have such a vision and such a mission to help people just understand themselves, because it's so, so important.
And for all the dyslexics out there, guys, Ruffner is RUFFNER. Trust me, I did that for myself, just in case I will go back and listen to this. I can go to your website. Gene.
All right.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, let's finish out with there's something that you mentioned on your website about developing and encouraging more of a zest and a zeal for life, right? And that's one of the things I like about you, is because that, from the first day we met, like that comes across, and it's the same way for anyone that meets you in any context. They get that right away. So when you look at your own life and the ups and downs, and when you feel like you have that zest for life, what do you attribute that to? What are some of the things that you have fixed in your own life, or that you've noticed about the progress that you've made that releases that sort of energy even in yourself and in the people that you coach?
Wow. You could have prepared me for that question. You know what? That's when you know this is raw. It's owning it and knowing your own values. Because, like I said, it's so easy to blame, and it's so easy to get caught up in the drama. And when you look at when someone disappoints you, we are so born with our own identities and our own ways that we don't appreciate someone else's outlook, because our outlook is the way. So we get into an argument, and it's a battle of the wills of who's right, because we all want to be right. We all have that ego need to be right. But the reality is, if we're fighting for what's right, we're not getting to the root of what it really is. And you can't get to the root of what it really is if you don't pay attention to who you are as a person and know your true authentic self, because you're always going to come across not authentically. You're going to conform to the other person, just go, oh, okay. When Greg was talking about having an argument, You can sit there and have an argument about what's going on, but are you going to learn the lesson that needs to be learned so you don't repeat it?
Mm-hmm.
And I was fucking done repeating shit in my life. And when you look back and go, I remember having this argument about 10 other times in my life. Why does this keep coming up? Why does this keep becoming a pattern in my life? Oh, duh, it's a lesson I need to learn. And I keep attracting the people in my life that I need to learn from. Because when we don't like somebody, it's because we have our own inadequacies within us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we don't like them. It's not them. It's never the
I
other
really
person.
feel like that's the root of Greg's hatred for me. This is great, Beverly. This is like a therapy session for me and Greg. This is really awesome.
I was waiting for what you were going to say on that. I'm like, I'm going to be thrown into the bus somewhere on that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Micro Famous, a biography of Greg's junk, coming 2020.
It honestly takes two people to understand and want to grow. Because, and that's really the truth of the matter. My zest for life is I don't have time for anything else. We have a choice on how we see or respond or react to everything in our life. And I do not choose to be a Debbie Downer to anyone in my life that I come into contact with. I always want to make someone smile. Always.
And you do.
And no matter what's going on in my life, it doesn't. Everyone else is going through their own bullshit. They don't give two shits about my bullshit.
Mm-mm.
They may like to hear a story that they can relate to and go, oh my God, you did too. But at the end of the day, it's caring enough and having empathy for other people. And I think, back to my conversion, I was never attached to how people treated me. I'm attached to caring about that other person because it's always about the other people. Because if we take our time to self-invest within ourselves and know who we are as a person, we come across with a much bigger glow. We come across much more confidently because we're not conforming to other people. We're being ourselves.
Here's the question that I think a lot of people might be asking, or maybe they don't want to ask because they're afraid of the potential reality, is how do you have that real conversation with yourself to find out who you really are? Because I bet you a large majority of people do not know how to have that conversation or want to have that conversation.
No, they just that's why they throw themselves in the different compartments, because they don't want to reveal what is really wrong because they're going to blame somebody else. And when we really sit back and look at our life and look at, we all have patterns of challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look back at those patterns of challenges and we start to realize the people that we had attracted and the dislikes that we have of certain things that have happened in our life, and reveal that pattern and start dissecting what that lesson is that we needed to learn and not blame the other person, that's when the true authentic self starts coming out.
And that's probably the scariest thing anybody will ever find out, is who their authentic self is. But once you do, it's the most beautiful thing on planet Earth. It is true. It's freeing, exactly.
So, for me, it usually, that self-introspection usually starts with my wife saying, you're a giant asshole, and actually I am, and that's the
such an East Coast thing.
Such an East Coast thing.
You East Coast people. Good Lord.
And listen, there's the end of it. But see how fast I got through that process?
Exactly. All right, so I do want to point out something.
Therapy by
Beverly, I want to go back to, and then we'll shut things down for the day. So everybody should go to BeverlyRuffner.com and grab that. Okay. So one of the things that I've noticed that you tied into kind of the personal self-development, but I want to tie it into what you're really good at and have always been really good at, and you're good at teaching other people to do. When you are one of the main reason I think you're so good at lead conversion is because you are having authentic, real conversations where you empathize with the other person.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably I would guess that's probably also the most difficult thing to get across to the agents and the teams that you train on this stuff, because that's the part that actually takes some personal development. And if you don't do it, your only option is to try to fake it. And it's a lot better for it to be authentic than for it to be faked, right? Because if you get the empathy part right, then that affects all the other parts of your life. And getting good at something like lead conversion, for example, is just a natural outgrowth of your personal development. So I did want to point out that that's, to me, there's a direct connection there. You know, all business development, to me, is personal development. If we ignore this stuff and we think we're going to kick ass at work and then the whole rest of our lives can be in shambles, it just doesn't work that way. It inevitably implodes. Like, to me, that's the only option for that to end. If we're not growing and developing as a person, you know, you can think you've got a successful business. Good luck hanging on to it.
Yeah. Well, and my favorite saying is, if it doesn't scare us, it doesn't grow us. And you've got to put yourself in a situation that scares the hell out of you. And such a great point, because I was sitting here thinking about all the training that I've done and why so few really take it and run with it. And, you know, thinking of conversations that I'm having and thinking of listening to other conversations that I've heard. When you're not fully authentic and know who you are, when you're having conversations, there's one of two things that you're doing is, A, you're hemorrhaging about saying how great you are at what you do, because you have to, you know, blow up that fact of proving yourself instead of being authentic, or you clam up and don't know what to say and you let the other person own the conversation. So you can either go this way and go, blah, 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 this is how great I am, this is what I do, or you say nothing and you're like, oh, I'm just looking, oh, okay, call me when you need me. And but when you're truly authentic to yourself, it's easier to have a real conversation because you're not as attached to the outcome. You just truly enjoy people. And it's being able to have that good conversation. I never thought about it that way. It's a great point.
Matt, if only Matt could enjoy human beings, I mean, this would be a way more successful show.
I enjoy them. I just enjoy them in small doses, small controlled doses, like medication. All right. So we know where to go, BeverlyRuffner.com. Gene, what about you? How can people connect up?
GeneVolpe.com, that's the website, or anything Gene Volpe on social media related. Reach out and let's have a combo.
That's right. If you are an agent, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, make sure to reach out to Gene if you want to get more exposure online, especially if you want to take your content that you're already producing or want to produce and get it onto multiple places and make sure that you have a presence in every place that your potential clients could be. Make sure that you get a hold of Gene. Greg, what's the best way to reach out and connect with you?
I like people. No, I might even say I love people. So you can give me a text.
That's not what your shirt says.
Thank you, Bev. My shirt does say I'm shy. So you guys go ahead and text me 925-915 1978. Again, text me at 925-915-1978. Let's set up a time to do a little coaching. If you got a question that maybe I can help you with, I'll be happy to do so. That's my gift to you. Matt won't do that, but it's okay. We still give him bear hugs.
I have another forum. Another forum.
Where, Matt?
Okay.
Where?
Okay, so we just launched the Micro Famous Facebook group. So if you guys want to connect with other thought leaders, coaches, consultants, speakers, authors, if you want to connect with those types of people, if that's the journey that you're on, if you want to teach, train, and lead people, you can go to microfamousgroup.com. You can jump into that. I'm there. A lot of my friends are there. People that we've had on the show are there, like Zach Hammer, who's awesome. He's getting involved in the group. And so show up there, microfamousgroup.com. Get in and start participating in the conversation, asking for feedback from other people who are on the same journey, because everybody wants to be famously influential to the right people. So that's what that group is there to help you do. So yeah, that's where I can actually get involved and help and offer suggestions and personal feedback and all that fun stuff. So I have a forum to talk to human beings, Greg. It's there. We have created it. We have launched it. It is officially live. And just for the audience, like we mentioned, this is one of the last episodes under this format and brand as Real Estate Uncensored. Coming next year, we will be shifting to Sales and Marketing Uncensored. So if there's anybody that you want us to feature on the show, for example, your favorite Instagram expert, your favorite LinkedIn expert, who do you love that talks about Facebook Lives? Whatever it is, we want to get into the tactics of what are the things that you can do right now today to get more attention, build influence, and sign up more clients. So anybody who I want to suggest, shoot us a message, reach out to me or Greg, and tell us who you'd like to see featured on the show going into the new year, because now we don't have the constraint that they have to speak to real estate specifically. They can be from any industry. So whoever you want, let us know who you want to interview and feature on the show. So, Greg.
Even from the midget porn industry, we
exactly.
We accept everybody.
Hey, if they've grown an Instagram channel for midget porn, I will shake their hand, congratulate them, and I want to know what they did to do it.
And that's why they're called micro famous, right?
That's right. All right, Gregory. Let's put a bright, obnoxiously yellow bow around this episode in honor of your shirt today.
All right, we'll put a yellow bow on this. Guys, we love you to pieces. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you for the continued support in the S&M Uncensored. That stands for Sales and Marketing. You sickos, don't think anything else as we go through this journey together. We love you. Matt likes you. Gene loves you. Bev adores you. And we are going to see you guys on the flip side. But until then, be good to each other. Hug each other. Big smoochy kisses. And until next time, peace out, ninjas. Go.